All right, welcome to the regular session of December 2nd, 2024. First order of business, as always, is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We're going to table the minutes until next meeting because we got to make a couple of changes to those. First up is guest speakers from Worthington Fire and EMS.
I just want to say thank you very much to the board for having us this evening. I want to introduce Nate Hall, our service coordinator. He is our representative for our SAFER program, which is our service coordinator. I'll let you explain more what that is, but Nate does have a slide presentation. If it's not too much to put it up there, is it too much?
Yeah. Do you have it like on a flash?
I don't know my laptop.
Yeah, you can probably just access that.
How are you doing? We're pretty good, okay. All right. Good night.
I think so.
Yeah, you should be able to cast this shit, like, you have to get on this.
If not, that's already.
This. I'm sorry, I didn't realize you had it.
No, it's all right. I can just talk through it. That's fine.
I don't know.
Don't worry about it. Nate Hall, everyone. Just a little bit about the program. So it's social assistance for emergency reduction. So my background is I'm a social worker. I got started doing outreach up in Marion and the surrounding 6 counties with the homeless community, and then with Ohio Health and with their psychiatric units. So kind of what the program is designed for is looking at high utilizers of 911, kind of working with the patients, families, kind of see where the source of the emergency is, what that looks like sometimes. We had one a couple weeks ago where it was an 80-year-old female who was on hospice using a home program. And the crews responded 8 times in 48 hours. Just unfortunately, the fluid had really gotten her joints and it was difficult for her to move. She was frequently falling in the home. So I was able to meet with the family. Family had access to this hospice program, but just with everything going on, it's a lot of information to get thrown at you all at once. And they just weren't sure how to access those resources. So Chief Cochran and I were able to meet with the family in the same day, call the hospice program, get nurses out, get home health, as well as we got a whole array of medical devices from the program. And that's kind of just where the program shines, is that just with the way police and fire work, they're taking calls constantly. It's difficult to sit with residents and walk them through some of these processes. Something as simple as even entering a homeless shelter is often like 2 weeks of daily phone calls anymore. So that's kind of where the program really been getting a lot of success. If there's any questions you guys have, please let me know. That's just kind of.
I probably have a couple.
Yeah.
What's your education?
Okay. So I have my bachelor's and master's of social work from the Ohio State University. I'm an Army veteran. I'm also a peer recovery supporter. I've gone through mental health treatment myself. That's kind of how I approach working with patients, working with families, getting access to treatment as well.
So to give you an example, a lot of times, our EMS crews and sometimes our fire crews, which are intermingled, same people on both trucks, but they will go to a house, as Nate said, multiple times and say even a day. And a lot of times we can't take them to the hospital because there's really nothing to help them with at the hospital. So where Nate comes in is where you may have a resident up in the hills or Brookside or sorry. Yes. I can't talk. Where they may need to have help that we can't provide as a 911 provider, and that's where the social worker aspect comes into play. So our main mission is to allow people to age gracefully and with dignity in their own home. Yeah, and then we've seen some great success stories, as he mentioned. So we're very excited about the program, and we just want you guys to start sending referrals to Nate as you have them. My own personal experience up in the hills, I've been on dozens of houses up there. It's been years ago though, but where the people could have used this service, and I know that there's people up there right now that can. This is no additional cost to the residents at all. This is just who we are and what we do. We found that a couple of things is getting the trucks back in service for the next emergency is very valuable, but also getting the proper help, I think, is more valuable versus having to go sit in a hospital bed for 6 hours and leave there with really nothing different than when they got there. So that kind of covered the.
Yeah.
So you guys kind of have like not a list of people necessarily, but somebody, anything they just typically call the fire department or the EMS, with. I don't want to equate it to people who go to the emergency room for like something minor, but.
I mean, that's a big part of it too. I mean, if you've been in an emergency room the past 40 years or so, there's not a lot of emergencies sometimes.
Right.
I've seen it work in the hospital where I had patients who were coming to the ER for utility assistance or needing presence. Recently, we've actually had 2 patients who have contacted us just for assistance with Christmas. And that's something that, now that we have a social worker, I can walk them through it, get access to programs. Worthington, we have Shop with a Cop that we can sign them up for. So a lot of things, we do see things that aren't traditionally kind of emergencies, but we're still, the benefit now is we're able to walk residents through it. I'm trying to think of an example for you off the top of my head for what.
I can see.
I understand what you're asking though.
But pretty much if it's not criminal related, they call the fire department, no matter what it is. And but we're very proud of that, but we've also come to the end of the road on things that we can help people with, and this gives us a lot more options to give help to our residents. And like I said, we're very excited. But we had all these visions of how it would work, and he has just taken off with it, and it's just been amazing to watch. And we've got a lot of great feedback already. So yeah.
So I had a quick question. I know our zoning officer, he's every so often deals with folks who are kind of elderly or they're hurt or something, can't mow their lawns, so the yard gets out of hand, whatever. Do you help with that sort of thing too?
Our zoning department as well. We've been trying to come up with a similar program. So it's difficult. One of the biggest requests we get is for like minor home repair, things like guardrails or I think exterior paint. There's programs out there, but unfortunately, all the programs are several months out. I can still walk residents through that process, but just as long as they have the understanding, these programs often can take about 8 months for home repair. That's one of the biggest requests we've been getting.
Do you, I know that Morpsey, for instance, has a home need or home energy program, people with financial assistance needs. Is that something you refer them to them?
For like utility assistance or? Yeah, we work with like, are you talking about like HIP or heat for like utility?
Yes.
Yeah, I can walk
Very
you through that
similar.
process. That's one we've been doing as well. Typically how that works is I'll meet with them, help them get some of the paperwork that's required, and then I'll make the initial appointment for them with the actual offices in Franklin County, and then I'll check up with them in a week to make sure that everything is planned.
Right. Well, the reason I asked that question, I mean, about Morpsey is that, because we were we have dinners. I always feed the township trustees. That's how I actually get them there. They're a flighty group, but they always come for food, right? So, William Murdoch, who's director of Morpsey, gave a presentation. One part was about their energy assistance program, and they're just not getting enough people aware about it.
Okay.
And so the resources are there, and maybe it's something we connect you to.
Yeah, please do.
We'd also like to maybe get you in front of the civic associations. They tend to hear a lot throughout the neighborhood about people need. A lot of our residents will call them and say, hey, I'm elderly, I can't do X, Y, and Z. And they really don't have resources available or somebody to refer to, at least they have a contact with you. So we'll think their next meeting, one of them is next Wednesday, and so we'll try to get you on the agenda.
One thing to make sure we all, I guess to be clear about is that Nate doesn't actually do the work.
Right.
He's the conduit between the resident and the people that do the work, or the resources they may have, they need.
Well, we definitely could have used you. One of the resident on Candlewood, they called every time that they fell out of a chair.
Oh, yes.
We have that a lot all over our area. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're hoping that we can, again, make persons stay in their home longer
Right.
and with pride and dignity.
Do you do anything with hoarders? Hoarders? Like hoarding?
Oh, hoarders,
Yeah,
sorry.
sorry.
That's another one of the big requests we begin on the fire side. There's hoarding specific. There's not a lot of resources. There's one, and it's pretty much like a group meeting that they do. As far as targeting hoarding specifically, there's not.
Yeah,
That's when we get frequently.
Too many on a truck.
in my experience over the years here, we have several, and we still have some, and, you know, they're just, sometimes not in a position to do anything else. So, but I also think there's other issues there that maybe you might be able to help with as well.
That's what we've received some referrals for hoarding, and often, as you know, there's a lot more we find out quickly, and we've been able to assist with that and kind of get our foot in the door.
Right.
And build a relationship that way, but just hoarding specifically. I know it's a big one everyone asks.
Is there an outfit out there that, I know, cause I just know from hearing from a bunch of people that people call fire and EMS with a home fall. And it's either the person can't get up by themselves, or, you know, they have an elderly spouse and they can't get up. And they're not hurt, but they just, is there a service that does that where you don't have to use the resources of a run, you know, and?
No, and the thing is we're there, we're ready to go, so waiting for somebody else to come get them off the floor, and what happens if they sit longer? It may cause injuries that we could have.
You get a lot of calls for
A
falls, don't
lot. Yeah, lots. Jenny may know the exact, or close to the,
It's in the top 3 frequent calls that we get.
you? And 95% of the time, that's not an emergency. Probably. I mean, the person has to get up eventually, but it's like,
Well, frequent falls are an indicator that somebody might be prone to a stroke.
right,
So if we
can't
are
ignore it.
going to the same place on frequent falls, and it's not something that's a trip hazard, or fill some blanks in for me.
Yeah.
Then we need to encourage them to go to their primary care physician and get checked out. So there's some prevention to what Nate does also.
Well, at some point, those folks probably can't be living independently either. You know,
but a lot of times we can help them figure out, as Jenny said, what's wrong. There may be the signs of the stroke that's getting ready to happen or happening. It could be medication needs adjusted.
it's blood pressure
Could be
medication.
all kinds of things, right? Or it could be just that they don't have anything to grab onto when they transition from their garage into their house.
Or the
And-
walker's too big
Or,
or too
yeah, so
small.
he has an actual,
It's good to the toilet.
we kept going, to share the story, there's an address we kept going to over and over and over and over, so he went and did some investigating. Share the story, it's a good one.
So yeah, this is one, I can't remember the exact number off the top of my head, but they were there like at least 5 times in a week. Older adult, he lived alone, he would wake up in the middle of the night, have to use the restroom. And so he would take a big walker to the restroom, it wouldn't fit through the doorway, So he would drop it, walk through the doorway to get a smaller walker, and that's where he was falling, was changing the walkers. So we went out and one of the medics I was with, Chris Mize, said, why don't you just use the smaller walker the entire time? And that was it. That was it.
That was the fix.
Yeah, that was it. I mean, I continued to check up on him for a few weeks, but that was really it. So, sometimes it's simple fixes, like, well, I use the walker that fits through the doorway. Other ones we've worked with, one of the first referrals we got, he would fall in the shower and he would use his life alert to call. We got him, it was a standing only shower. We got him a shower chair so he could sit, and same thing, calls increased.
Simple tweaks that really improve the quality of life.
So what about, say, caregivers? Like I had to take care of my sister-in-law for about a year, then my mother-in-law, who was getting close to her 90. She lived with us for 5 years before she passed away. And trying to lift people, I mean, right off the bat, my back within the first week was really, I was in a lot of pain. And then if they fell, it was a lot worse. So are there resources out there to kind of help the caregivers? Because we didn't want her to have to go to an assisted living, we wanted her to be able to stay with her family, so.
They have programs out there now, like respite care. They have a thing they call, like adult daycare actually, where you can kind of drop your parents off for the day. I've known a lot of people who, even on the way to work, will bring their parents and pick them up.
Is there an age requirement? My mom's not near that, but I'd like to drop. her
Oh,
every day.
it just depends on the program. Oh, I'm sorry. But there's a lot of them.
Just saying.
They have like home health. It just depends on the, like what the circumstances are, and then insurance is the big one.
Right, yeah, I know with her last year, we had people coming in a couple times a week to give her showers and stuff like that, but. I was just thinking those basic needs of how to go about holding your body to lift someone up. Or help them down or whatever the case.
It's like home health would be a good option where they can help with showering some of the ADLs.
Yeah.
Are you talking about teaching family how to lift?
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were asking for.
Sorry, no, I guess I didn't explain it very well. It's like, yeah, it was, I had to do a lot
I
of
understand.
lifting. And so for a long time. So well, as you were talking, I thought, boy, if I wish I had someone to teach me how to stand or whatever to reduce that.
Even our crews have equipment that is specialized to help lift people safely, so that we don't tear skin or we don't injure joints. So a gait belt is usually something that you can learn how to use.
Okay.
Home health care might show you how to use, but calling for many people to help with somebody is usually the safest. Safest thing to do. We're getting, learning, there's transfer devices.
Yeah.
To go from a wheelchair to,
Yeah, that was a hard one without having the wheelchair go blind, which we had. But
Well, this looks very worthwhile. We'll publicize it as best we can, and, you know, we have resources to do that, but.
yes.
So we have a monthly magazine, we don't, but we have a page in there. You'd like to try to use that page next month, maybe. That's okay, if you have something already pulled together, we'll have our PIO reach out. Probably get some pictures and information.
So appreciate it. Yeah.
Was it a newsletter?
Yeah.
The next quarterly newsletter, that'd be a good story to put in there. Everybody likes these feel good stories.
And I think the neighborhood association meetings would be very valuable too. A lot of people are looking out for their neighbors and it's, yeah.
I was even thinking having you talk to staff to kind of give them a really good idea of what's there and how they can help.
So I get two unrelated questions while you're here. One, how's our business down in Bethel? Haven't blown anything up yet?
everything's good. We have not heard back from them as far as when the IT company and the telephone and Spectrum
Okay.
are all coming out. That's the only thing that's left out there.
And Chief, we had a conversation some time back about letting. Don't yell at me. Letting officers ride with your folks. to-
Ride?
Huh? Ride, sorry, ride. No, they don't get to drive, I'm sorry. Yeah, they
That's
don't
not
get to
what we
drive.
were told. We're allowed to drive.
I know you're looking. And vice versa kind of thing, so that when you got to the scene of an accident or something, you kind of knew each other and you knew what each other did, and you had a better understanding of how to help each other, and blah, blah, blah. It was a great concept that you had. So I didn't know if that ever got off the ground, or it's already been done, or,
We had a couple come over to spend time with chiefs people. But I'm not sure of any that come over to us, but they're welcome to come over.
okay,
Our main focus was getting the battalion chiefs over here, so they can start off with that, as our first shift, that's our highest ranking firefighter.
okay.
And then we're gonna work our way down. Right now, we're in the holiday season, so that having the staffing to send somebody over for a few hours is kind of difficult. But we should be through that in January.
Okay.
We can definitely get somebody over here. However, you guys are welcome to come over too, and jump in the back of the ladder truck or the engine.
We get to drive though, right?
Yes, yes.
Monday coffee.
That's what you want.
You can go around the one, actually.
Oh, God.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, one of our battalion chiefs was riding in charge of the engine today, and he was gonna come over and honk the horn for Chief Cicero and ask if he wanted to go for a ride.
I'm only coming over, I can ride with Monday. Just saying.
Thank you.
But then your people are always welcome in our building.
Appreciate it.
We're sitting right there.
Absolutely. No, if we get a run, you can come with us.
That's it. Good.
Nope.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time. Well, I'm going to go to the city council meeting now, but like I said, your people are always welcome over in our building. So, thank you.
You're wonderful. Thank you all.
Good to see you. Thank you, Nate.
Keith, you're up next.
Let's see, the other thing I have is we have upcoming carriage rides for Brookside, Worthington Hills, and we have December 15th, we have Santa coming to Epcot. And then January 1st, we have a 5K from that state. Yeah,
It's cold.
so we have officers assigned already to all three events as far as Brookside, Worthington Hills, and Epcot. So they're all taken care of. Well, obviously, they're all,
When is what time? I'm sorry.
the Brookside is December,
I know this one.
can't remember what it is.
I do know this one.
It's in December,
Yeah.
It is in
Lieutenant
December.
Force- Lieutenant
It's
Force
off.
Officer.
It's actually on a,
Friday.
no,
It's a
Saturday.
Saturday.
hold on. Let me tell you.
Because Epcon's on a Sunday.
Sunday, December 22nd, 5:30 to 8:30.
Lieutenant Forsyth told me today that they're all covered. They have officers to staff all of them, so we're good. And the 5K run, we just signed off on the permit today for
Thank you.
the New Year's run. Oh. Should have had the fire do the fire report. In the month of October, there were 22 runs in Perry Township, calls for service from Worthington Fire. In November, there were 19. Okay.
Your shoes. All right, getting back on order here, public comment period. Brookside.
Just actually about the sleigh rides, and then I did tell Charlie today that our meeting is not gonna be tomorrow night like it normally is. It's next Monday here, and I reserved with Luke at 6 o'clock. So I think he's off, so he was gonna look at getting them back up.
Okay.
And but we have a lot of logistics stuff, so unless there's something really material, if you guys need to not participate, that's okay.
And it's next Monday here.
Here at 6. Yeah.
Or anything else?
Other than the, New Year's Day, Rod, thank you very much for signing off. Gary's right.
That's not, that's even, unless Rich will be here else.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
And I'll text you after I'm done with Allison too.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
After Rebello.
The only thing that was a request for follow-up on the transference of, the roadways, and that had already been done earlier in the year, so. Melanie and, Hughes were given the documentation by the administrator regarding that transfer.
Okay.
All's good.
I think the reason that came in is because of the condos down in Upper Arlington we have.
This,
I think.
well,
Right.
that match, that, he's looking at it right here, and it's more on Ackerman,
Yeah, it doesn't really touch us at all.
Oh, okay.
which
I just
is
assumed
more
it was-
even remote than, I thought this was those apartments, it's not.
That's what
No, they're not?
I'm
No, it's Ackerman
So
and.
that's Ackerman coming across Riverside.
Right. That's not even any,
Well, that's, we're,
I don't think it has any Perry Township
No.
ramifications.
maybe
I mean, if that's truly the scope of the work, that is that, it's, yeah, I don't even know why we would,
I don't want to get sidetracked, it's like that really got nothing to do with us.
yeah.
There wasn't any.
There was an article in the Dispatch yesterday about them.
Yeah, it's not bad. All right, moving right along, zoning. Kind of a zoning thing, right? Zoning, anything on zoning tonight?
Tomorrow, there's a BZA.
okay.
There's a variance request about a fence, 995.
One.
So that will be starting at 6:30.
It's a good thing we moved our meeting.
Yeah. I was thinking.
Who's gonna be there? Legal counsel?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
What?
Fence on Blind Brook, it's a little bit contentious, we're having legal counsel be present.
Is this the fence?
Always fence, church, something.
Accessory structures. Anything else on the zone?
Salt. You wanna do solar?
Oh, I'm sorry.
And then also I saw your email from Rich in terms of kind of, so I'm not sure that is their property.
I'll talk to you about it. Yeah,
All right,
it is. Nothing new.
I think he knows that. I mean,
Concrete's curing?
Yes, so right now the concrete's curing, they feel good, the engineer said they could put on that
Sealant?
sealant anytime they want now. We're just waiting for the weather to be a little better. It needs to be at around 40 and rising. So that is the goal right now. The next step is going to be seeing this parking lot being completed. They ran into some issues over the weekend. They called me on Friday, let me know, hey, we have a couple soft spots where the foundation was dug. So they've been taking that out, putting in number twos, stones, and then putting 304 on top. So it gives them more solidity, more strength for that base. There's only one spot left right now, which is actually where the trackle got stuck and hit the wall. So they're gonna be infilling that tomorrow, and then after that, they should be able to pave. Luckily, the plants are still open. Most of them are still open right now. I think out of 6, there's 4 of them open in our area, so they should have no problem being able to get some of that asphalt and doing the base, and then after doing the base, being able to do that top coat on there. Our goal is to put roughly 3 inches of asphalt so that it could carry any weight of heavy equipment and whatnot that could be around the salt barn. And then after that, I received an email this morning for the installation of the canopy system. He was adamant that as long as the contractor can get him a payment, to him, they would be here on Monday the 9th. I have talked to a couple of guys in the office, they'll be coming in here and making sure that that's getting done, because I'll be out of town next week, so. I have a couple guys that are gonna be, taking turns and passing by and looking at the installation of that.
Oh,
But we expect for it to be completed by the week of the 9th, by the end of that week, it just needs 3 to 4 days. So by that Friday, I expect for that to be installed. Unless we have some major weather anomaly that prevents us from doing it. But that's pretty much where we're at with the project. We have a meeting tomorrow with the contractor. We'll talk about some potential fixes to the scratch and some of the concrete that got knocked out from the structure, so. We'll discuss that in the meeting and see what could be done in regards to that.
can they put some epoxy type?
Yeah, I think epoxy is probably gonna be your best bet, because it's large but it's small, that putting concrete up won't adhere correctly. I think epoxy would probably be the best bet.
Okay. So paving this week,
Yes,
Start for
paving,
next
you
week.
should see some pavement on there tomorrow.
okay,
At least the base should be installed tomorrow.
and the sealant goes on when?
The sealant will go on, we're waiting to see what the weather's doing.
Okay.
We need at least a day or two of 40 and above, so right now, we can't do that.
Check
That's not,
that.
Like this
40 and
weekend.
above days are next week, but it's rain, and it has to be dry too.
Right, it has to be dry too, so.
We'll get those days.
Yeah, and we can install it even after the canopy is on.
Okay,
So that should be no issue. As soon as we have the canopy on and we have that on there, you just need to give it 48 hours and then you guys can start storing salt.
Okay.
So, right now, those are the big ticket items, is getting that canopy on there and then getting the, sealant, placed on all over the concrete in the interior of the building.
well, we haven't
So-
ordered salt yet until it's available to us, let's say,
Right.
we haven't ordered it for delivery.
Yeah,
So until this thing kind of gets done and we're all comfortable, it's
yeah.
ready to
I
receive.
mean, if we had the canopy on, I would feel comfortable them doing the,
Yeah,
sealant, but without the sealant on there, we definitely want to make sure.
so the ceiling can go on with the canopy installed, and
Correct.
at that point, then we don't have to worry about rain days, right? Because
Yes.
The canopy's on it,
Yeah.
so. Okay. So.
Andy's in charge of the weather, so that's putting
It's gonna
pressure.
be nice
Because
next,
I mean, there's only 2
next week.
days, right?
Oh, we'll
The
take
next
it, I'll
10
take
that
any
have
day.
above
I think
40.
it'll be.
Well, it's 50 next Monday and Tuesday, but there's like a 50% chance of rain each day.
I'm seeing 43, high 43 and 41, so.
And then after the canopy's up,
I'm like-
everything's sealed and paved and everything, we won't see another flake of snow for the rest of the winter.
I
So,
mean, hey, that works.
That'd be great.
so it's gonna be Murphy's Law.
So we gotta call tomorrow at 3?
Yes, 2:30. So we got a call at 2:30 tomorrow. And our call would be with the contractor, so he gives us an update directly to all of us. He's waiting on the asphalt to go on and then they can do the fence around your dumpster pad.
Okay.
As well as the doors that are open there.
Understood. Good. Okay,
Alright,
good weather.
yeah, well, weather's been great so far, so I
Yeah,
can't
that's true.
complain. Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
Have you been
Thanks.
outside? It's freezing.
Well, it's been great so
It's been
far up to
great.
now. Alright, take care, thank you.
Take care, thank you.
Anything else on the road department?
They've gone through their 8th round of pickups for leaves. 210 truckloads, their average over the last 5 years has been 235 total. They're gonna run obviously this week. And they'll probably run, not to be public, probably run on Monday one more time around and see if they're getting last minute things. But then everything goes off and the plows go on and we'll just wait for the snow to come.
You're done.
Yeah, it'll look like it's nice snow between now and then. But you know, people will do something this weekend because it's supposed to be pretty sunny this weekend.
Yes.
All right, Madam Administrator,
Yeah, I know I already got your response, Andy, but, Rich Ireland from Dublin Builders was asking what, if anything, he needed to be working on or doing for you folks regarding the facilities. Nothing there? Okay, and, just so I can let the folks that were, being reviewed know, the 360 forms closed down on November 15th, so what are next steps? with that?
Next steps would be that by our next meeting, I will have compiled the rest of the data and, then we'll have a session to review feedback and go from there.
Okay.
Will that be, I'm sorry, will that be an executive session?
I would think so, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
The software,
Oh, the budget program, I'm sorry, oh, yeah. So where we are is, Mary needed a computer, first of all, so that's been ordered. Once she gets a computer, the UAN needs to get on there, so even though Beth has reached out to UAN and said, hey, put her back on, and which that happened. Then there was the question that Beth needs to have access to UAN, Mary needs to have access to UAN, and so UAN needed to be involved in the conversation. So there's going to be a kind of a connection at the data center, not our data center, but our IT data center. They've worked it out. Right now, we're just really waiting on Mary's computer to get,
that's it, Ahmad was here most of the day,
okay,
they got that,
then,
yeah, whatever it was they
Yeah.
have. And so they're just waiting to get her computer to get that hooked up,
okay,
and they've already taken it offline.
okay. That's kind of where we are, we're kind of in a holding pattern, but, we'll get there. Again, UAN has to be caught up for that data to be transferred over to our budget program, contractor before they can do any work. And I think the last time we had a conversation, they were at least 6 months out, depending upon
Yeah.
Depending
their
on.
client base and so forth. So
You never know if somebody else pushes back and we
We
can,
could.
you know,
we could get lucky, so. So that's kind of where we are.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I did tell Mary that when things are up and running, that the board has requested that she come to the board, kind of give an update on what she's seen, what an expectation of timelines and things like that, and milestones, so, but we gotta get her up and running, so.
I did ask him today if he had an AT on the computer, and he didn't.
Okay.
The open enrollment meeting is gonna be December 4th at 12:45 to start, because we're getting lunches and stuff like that. McGowan Broad Lenders offered to pay for everybody's lunch, which was kind of a nice. Was anybody here gonna be attending that meeting?
no.
Is it virtual? Can it be virtual?
I was gonna record it because some people
Okay.
couldn't be
Yeah.
here. I can do that.
Kim's gonna be here.
Yeah, I saw her.
Yeah, it'd be helpful if you could record it.
I'll do that. So I'd like to request to set the organizational meeting for January 6th, 2025 at 6 p.m. and then the regular meeting would follow directly after.
Yeah, I'm moved that we have our organizational meeting for 2025 on 1/6/25 at 6 o'clock with our regular meeting to follow.
Like,
Vote,
Yes.
yes.
Let's see, Thursday. Me and Charlie and then a few other people from here have to attend a mandatory peer support training or SPD. And then, let's see, Keith, it looks, things are moving along for him. So I'm gonna try and get another meeting with him and John here before Christmas time. And, kind of touch base on where we are with everything. Hopefully this BZA meeting tomorrow will be solved. And then there's been a request to set a special meeting with the folks from Somebody.
Question with key transit or if, you know, so we have a meeting at 8:30 on Thursday with the property owner that wants to do the assisted living on, West Case.
Mhm.
Do you think Trozy needs to be part of that?
Is that a special meeting?
No, no, we're
That's
just
a-
meeting with the property, we're just meeting with the property owner to talk about like the process, the steps and all that other stuff.
Yeah, if you would reach out to him, he should be there.
Yeah, I just didn't
And
know
it's an
that,
important item and
yeah, just to have him, he's probably not gonna have, but just to have
Yeah.
him be up to speed.
All right, going back to the special meeting with the Summit View folks.
I'm not asking for it. Okay, here, I'll catch you up. Okay, so we met on Wednesday. We said we want two things within the agreement. One had to do about cost for attorneys and the other had to do about the ripcord thing about, hey, we can get out anytime we want to get out kind of thing. Pete was to put that together. I touched base with him on Friday and said, did you understand what the board said? Are you clear on it? Can you get this stuff together? He said, no, not a problem. I'll do it over the weekend, blah, blah, blah. And so it went to, John Albers, today, around, I don't know, 12:30 or whatever. And, John Albers comes back and said, well, we don't quite understand this. We'd like to have a meeting of the parties. One of the parties comes back and says, I want a special board, not that I want to meet with the board, but I want a special board. Special.
Why don't we just go into executive session after our next meeting?
So, yeah.
That's
I can have a special
Perfectly
meeting too, I
fine.
don't care either, so, I mean, whatever. Whatever,
No, we're doing like one or two special meetings a month now, and, I just think we can go into executive session at the end of
yeah,
the
that's
next
fine,
meeting and
that's
just
cool,
do it that way.
that's good.
I know they probably don't like to wait, but
Well, they're gonna, I think you're,
as we approve $30,000 worth of moving bills for the development.
just,
There you go, Michelle.
I was reminded that they own property in the township, right? Because to me, it was like, you're not, never mind. Never mind. I took it negatively. I'm sorry. I don't like people demanding. I like when people call and say, hey, I realize you're busy. You have many things on your list. But could you possibly respond to this? Not like I'm your client, they're the client, I'm the consultant, I don't work for them. We don't work for them. They are property owners and we should be respectful. Should be respectful. I'm sorry. I'll shut up.
You're not being disrespectful, I mean.
I just had a bad day.
Just because they ask for something doesn't mean they get it, right? So we do an executive session.
Generally, all or nothing, people end up with nothing.
I'll, let them know.
I'll be here at 6:30.
Okay.
What the chairman says.
Anything else? Under administration, fiscal officer,
That's a motion for approval, of payroll and disbursements.
I'll make that motion.
second vote,
Yes.
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 You done? Make a motion to adjourn? Is there a second?
Second,
Vote,
yes.
yes.